We're seeing a big trend now, what we call sizes, not sexes. So when you think about smartwatches, the leading smartwatch manufacturer makes smartwatches in 2 different sizes. So not men's and women's. So it's really something for everybody. It's not, you're not eliminating anyone. You're giving consumers ultimately that final choice.
And it's interesting because you would think with beauty, you know, traditionally has been very much about men's and women's, but we've been seeing gender neutrality actually take place in a big way within the fragrance category, for example, where many fragrances that are actually gender neutral, so these would be fragrances that, for example, that are artisanal, have been growing double digits for many, many years. So we've been seeing that play out within fragrance. But you know, within skincare also we're seeing gender neutrality where, you know, traditionally you would have a skincare line and it would be for women, and then there would be a separate men's line. You know, I'm sure it's the same story with watches. It was men's watches, women's watches. But we're seeing more of this like movement towards, you know, skincare is skincare, right? You could even say that with makeup as well. Inclusivity is about more than just expanding your shade ranges. It's also, you know, about being more than just for one gender. So, you know, potentially coming out with a brand that's just targeted to men's if you're in makeup may not be the right move because it's not necessarily inclusive. You know, is it exclusive? Because now you're talking it's just for men versus just for women. It really is a bigger, broader conversation than that. And when you think about the younger consumer, many of them believe that gender is actually a spectrum, not necessarily one or the other. So I think it's going to be very interesting for what that's going to mean for the future of the beauty industry.
Well, gender neutrality in footwear is being manifested across many brands and many types of footwear. I mean, think about the athletic business, and a lot of the styles are gender neutral. Now, they might, you know, when you actually go to buy your size, they may be different sizes, men's versus women's, but the styling really is the same. And there's a number of brands in the casual space that are offering gender neutral styles, and actually some, you know, in the boot business that have really been around doing this a really long time.
Speaking about sizing, we have seen a number of retailers that are coming and playing in this space, kind of ditching the traditional small, medium, large type sizing and going numbers, so it could be a little bit more inclusive and a lot more of options for consumers that are out there, and kind of also seeing them put the assortment by color instead of sizing as well.
Right, and you'll sometimes on the footwear you'll see, you know, the men's size and the women's size together, and you can just, you know, decide.
And we're seeing also this is starting with the younger too. So talking about kids right now, a lot of what's happening with gender neutral is breaking the barrier between and saying that the thought that, oh, you can only be interested in one thing or another, whether you're a boy or a girl, but it's breaking those barriers and making it more inclusive and being more about the uniqueness of what they're interested in, and a lot of retailers offering a lot of product around the topic. And again, the idea of inclusivity, especially with the Gen Z generation.
I think in general, we're actually seeing a trend towards a moving in the middle, and I think we see this across fashion categories. We see women's fashion and styling becoming a little bit more utilitarian and masculine, but at the same time, on the men's side, becoming a little bit more feminine, if you will. Over the past few weeks, the men's fashion shows in Europe, there were some designers showing men's ballet flats. So now, I don't think that's going to become a huge trend, but I think some evolution of that could catch on, and I think it's just indicative of a shift. And I think moving forward, it may be a little harder to delineate, you know, men's versus women's or boys versus girls.
I think gender neutral has an opportunity because of the fact that it is inclusive and you're not narrowing your consumer base. So it really can make people feel unique, but also included at the same time.